Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Rebecca Schramm. We talked about this, Georgia being one of only 14 states that does not have a crime victims bill of rights. And so my guest this segment is Angela Williams. She is the founder of Voice Today. And Angela, let's get into this, the personal reason that you joined this movement, this Marsy's Law movement.
Well, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. I was sexually abused by my stepfather for 14 years, from age 3 to 17. So I really have spent my career fighting for victims' rights. And I know the fear, and I know the intimidation, and I know how a victim feels. Their power is taken away, and they're so vulnerable that we in Georgia have to stand up and fight for victims and give them the rights that they deserve.
Because we were talking about sometimes the predators, the only thing they ask is what?
Our silence.
Yes.
That's the only thing they ask for.
And so often the victim gives them just that.
Exactly. And it's out of that fear and that intimidation. And I think our system is so challenging in every area and unfortunately really so broken, especially when it comes to domestic violence issues and sexual assault, sexual abuse, and specifically child sexual abuse.
So when it comes to Marsy's Law, in your experience dealing with other victims, what have you learned about the system which, in your words, is broken?
Well, as the founder of Voice Today, we work with many victims of child sexual abuse and exploitation at all ages. We work with little ones, 4, 5, 6, all the way elementary, middle, high school, up to adults. And what we find is it's often the victim's word against the perpetrators. And often there's no evidence because of blatant disclosure, later. And they're so fearful. They're fearful of the process, of the system. And so the system doesn't make it easy for a victim to get justice. And often they're afraid of the perpetrator's retaliation, and that retaliation is very real. They were intimidated and they were manipulated and threatened during the abuse, and those threats continue after the abuse stops. So Marsy's Law would allow these victims to have the same rights as the accused. Marsy's Law would give them confidence and restore some courage, because a victim does not deserve to live in fear for the rest of their lives of their perpetrator getting out of their sentence and coming after them.
And the surprise is what scares most people,
Exactly.
So how can we learn more about this? Let's say, I'm interested in learning more about Marsy's Law. I want to know how it could be implemented in Georgia, and what would it mean for me and my family. How do we learn more about this?
If you go to Facebook, it is Marsy's Law for Georgia on Facebook, and you can learn more. But the most important thing is write your senator and write your House of Representative, because we need this law passed in Georgia.
It's gotten close. A couple of times, right?
Yes.
This year it was very close. The Senate, I believe, passed it.
Yes.
The House didn't take it up for a vote. So next year you feel like you'll have a little more momentum?
Exactly. Coming out of the Senate, we have more momentum, but it's going to take really people standing up in Georgia and fighting for victims' rights.
Angela, thank you so much
for being
with us here. We really appreciate this. And that's it for this week's edition of Public Affairs on Peach. We're going to see you back here next Saturday morning. So see you then. Take care.